And this is where we used to get all our instruction through the windows. From my dad used to be shouting, Paddy used to be shouting out of these windows as we used to do our circuit training over the park, over here. And that's at Aston Hall at the top. We used to run round up and around the stately home at the top, around this park. And this is where we used to keep an eye on you, Jim, if you weren't keeping up to pace, but you always was when you was so fit them days. This was the dressing room for training nights and for the boxing shows. But we'd have our warm-up area here, we'd have all our pads here. This wall went right back, the showers used to be over that corner. Paddy's office was across that back end there, that window was into his office. He had the only natural light. On the days when we used to do our inter-club boxing, this would be our dressing room, and then the boxers from the other gyms would get changed in our gym. They'd use our gym next door for their dressing room. This would be our dressing room, the homeboys here.
The stairs come down as there was from the gym upstairs, but years ago this was a wall here. There's a chimney breast across this corner, if you remember, Jim. And our team photograph was on the wall there. The adults talked about the future fights coming up. They'd be sat there having a beer, and we'd be sat on these stairs here all our childhood, most nights of the week. And then Jimmy would run all the way back home to Handsworth. Jimmy grew up in Handsworth, which is like one of the most deprived suburbs of Birmingham, this city, but that didn't affect Jim. Well, it did affect him, but in a positive way. He took from that. He developed his character, enhanced him into the person that he is now, really, because he made him stronger. He was a good, rough and ready kid that was could look after himself, which obviously helps in the boxing ring.
Oh, down number 28 Dora Road. I always remember it by the graveyard there, and there was a little wall. And sometimes it used to frighten me because if you're walking down them streets, you just never know what's going to happen. And Jimmy just used to bowl down, head up high, swinging his shoulders, walking as if he was really confident, even then as a kid, you know. And
it must have been hard for Jimmy, being a white lad growing up in an area predominantly black. But he took to it like a fish to water. Jimmy he had that character where race didn't mean anything. Black, white, Jimmy would get on with anybody. And you just knew, walk around Handsworth with him, he had respect of everybody in his area, in his vicinity.
The roughest place, say, around the Midlands and in Birmingham, especially Birmingham, and I'm not saying all the lads around there, but as you know, Winston Green Prison is full of lads from around that area. Still today, it's absolutely chock-a-block. You've only got to listen to the radio on a Friday night. There's a programme with calls coming out from the prison, and I think, you know, it's a terrible shame, like the waste of good lads that just took the wrong road.
It's a proper hard neighbourhood, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're a white geezer going around there, you know what I mean? And it's the one thing, Jimmy could box and people had to respect him for it, you know what I mean? He weren't someone who caused trouble, but if trouble happened, he could deal with it, and that's the way you had to be around our area.
Training and getting fit, and it was way out of where we was from. But
in life in general, he's a character, but that Handsworth background and that street culture that he had to grow up with, not out of choice. He had to live there. That's the only place his parents could afford to live. It was a tough upbringing, a poor upbringing really, but he made good from that. He took all the good elements out of that, and he became a great boxer.
He had the respect of everybody in that neighbourhood. His character was just a character that people would get on with, and I think boxing made him as well, because growing up in that area he could easily have gone the wrong way, like so many young kids do, but I think the boxing put him on the straight and narrow. It gave him the discipline to do what he's doing now and how far he's gone in his boxing career. But yeah, I'd say without boxing, who knows?
Seeing lads like Jimmy like doing well, you know, it was good for people like me to, like, you know, think, well, you know, I want a bit of that. You know what I mean? And now I'm here training the kids.
Always come back with a story, something had happened, he'd seen a shopkeeper throwing someone out the shop and he'd come flying through the door. Some drunks would come out the pub, you know, and want to start fighting him. And his dad, sometimes his dad, you know, and sometimes his dad would bring a couple of kids home that was 2 or 3 years older, pay him to fight him. And that's the neighbourhood, you know.